Hello YouTubers. Today we're going to do a video on this old hatchet that I bought back in 1969. It's a Norlund, I believe the model is called the Voyageur. Bought this back when I was a kid. I think I paid about $5 or $6 probably for it. I had a paper route, so I was just using my money that I saved up from that to purchase this, and used it quite a bit as a kid. Kept it in pretty good shape though. Banged on it a little bit, you know, with a I don't know what, a hammer or something. Kids, you know. Anyway, it's in pretty good shape. I left it, didn't have a lot of rust on it. I left it overnight in a white vinegar bath, and the rust that it did have on it for the most part came off. I just used a little bit of a brass brush on it, a little brushing with it, and it came out like this. Dried it, put a little WD-40 on it, and to protect it while I do the rest of this restoration. I probably will go over it a little bit more with a wire wheel or a wire brush, clean it up, and then I'm going to blue it. The vinegar bath solution, when it takes it off, it puts a bit of a patina on the blade, on the steel, and it allows you to see where they heat treated the blade on this axe head or hatchet head, right along this portion right here. You can see it on both sides, so that just gives you an idea of where that was, the heat treating was done. As you can see, it wasn't done on the back. It's a softer steel back behind the bit. The handle that I had on this, over the years it cracked and broke, and I ended up just using that handle, a portion of it, for a tap handle. I occasionally brew my own beer, and I wanted to make a tap handle for the tap, so I used the handle for the tap. This is the new handle that I bought. Purchased it at the hardware store yesterday. It's a house handle. It's their, I believe it's called the Boy Scout handle. It's a 14.5 inch handle, and I did a little bit of reprofiling on it already, doing some fitting for the axe head, and the profile that it was similar to this, and you can see there's a little bit of a difference there. I'm going to probably profile a little bit more, and maybe right up in here, bring this down just a little bit. I think the kerf was cut for this axe or hatchet head I'm putting on is a little shallow. You can see I've got it fitted fairly close here. Got a little bit more to do, if you can see in there, but it should work pretty good, and we will take it from there. I think I'll take this handle outside and do a little sanding on it, and then we'll come back in, hit the hatchet head with the wire wheel, and get it blued. Okay, YouTubers, so I went out and I did the final sanding on this hatchet handle. Again, it's a house handle. It's a hickory handle. It does have a little bit of dark wood in here that you really don't want. This is all I had to choose from our local hardware store. I do prefer to get to be able to see the product before I buy it, versus buying it online and getting it home and not being happy with it. Then I won't be happy. So but if you look at it, it's got, you can see the grain runs parallel with the handle and with the axe head, so it should be fine. You know, it's a small hatchet, and I'm not going to be doing any really heavy work with it. It'll probably go in my backpack. But anyway, our next thing we're going to do here is we're going to do a little bit more wire brushing on this, and then we're going to get to bluing. We're going to use a little bit of the cold gun blue to blue this. I want to have some sort of protection on here, and bluing it will oxidize the metal rather than having it rust, which is also oxidation. That's why they blue gun barrels and other gun parts, is to that way the oxidation process is already done, and it helps to keep the rust away. So we're going to go with that, and then after we get that done, we'll go ahead and we will mount this hatchet head on the handle. So we will be back when we get going with the wire. Okay, YouTube, so we went ahead and used the wire wheel on this. I just used a brass wheel just to clean it up a little bit, get some of the old, there was some paint on it when it was originally sold, so I got most of that off, cleaned it up. The instructions we're going to be using the Birchwood KC Perma Blue on this, and the instructions say to clean it up real good with a wire wheel, steel brush, or whatever, anything like that, and also to clean any oils from your hands or anything, grease, with some alcohol. So I use some, it's 91% rubbing alcohol, and some cotton balls. So we're going to go ahead now and put on some of this Perma Blue. Let's see how this works. Didn't have any of my nice thin gloves, so I ended up having to use my wife's cleaning gloves, dishwashing gloves, whatever they call them these days. So anyway, let's see how this works. Well, you can see it's starting to take. Looks like it's gonna need a few coats. It does say in the instructions to let it put it on there, let it sit for a minute, and you may have to repeat the process 3 or 4 times till you get the blue that you're looking for. So we will I'll go ahead and do that, and we will I'll be back when we get. Okay guys, so got the gun blue portion done on this project. It took 4 coats of the gun blue, and between each one, first you clean it with the alcohol, and then get yourself a cotton ball or something, you wipe it on there, get it on there, leave it on for about a minute according to the instructions, and then rinse it off, dry it real good so it doesn't start to rust, and then apply some more. And I did that 4 times, and in between each one, after I dried it, I rinsed it with hot water after the application, and dried it real good, and then buffed it out with some 4-aught steel wool. And again, I did that 4 applications and 4 buffing, and then after that final buffing, I added a coat of gun oil to it to protect it. The next step in this is going to be to set the head onto the handle. I think I might have to saw that kerf, which is the slot here that the wedge goes in. I may have to saw that a little bit deeper. As you can see, it doesn't even, when that head is on this handle, that kerf doesn't go down even quite halfway to where the head of the hatchet's going to be. So I'm going to saw that a little deeper, and I will do that off camera, like I did the blue and the sanding of the handle. You guys know how to do that. You don't need to watch me do it. So anyway, I'm going to be back as soon as I get that kerf sawn down, probably another 1/4 inch. Okay guys, so I went ahead and cut that kerf a little bit deeper on here, and now if I can get this, swing this camera over to my little vise and get it set up, we will make an attempt at mounting that head on the handle. Let's see if we can get everything in. There we go. I should be able to get everything in on camera here. So got the handle here, and it looks, I'm pretty sure I've got it right down about where I need it as far as trimming goes, so it'll fit down on here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's on in there nice and solid. Looks like a pretty good fit there. So let's go ahead and try to get this wedge pounded down in it. Give it a couple more wax, put this on there to protect it a little bit. I think that's down about as far as it's going to go. All right. Looks pretty good. Okay, guys. So we got the wedge put in, and then the little metal wedge. I'm not really sure what that thing is called, but we had to put it in diagonally. It was a little bit too wide to put it straight across, but it looks like the fit's pretty good. Got it cut off. I think at this point we are about ready to put the boiled linseed oil on this, and we will do plenty of coats on here, let it soak in between coats. Something I was watching some YouTube videos, and there's a guy, Wrangler Star. He definitely knows what he's talking about when it comes to these, and that's where I got a lot of ideas for refinishing this old Hatchet. Was from Wrangler Star, and I appreciate that. But he said, I believe, as far as coating the handle with boiled linseed oil, is 1 coat a day for 7 days, and 1 coat a week for 1 month, and then 1 coat a month for a year. And then after that, touch up as needed. I believe he said one coat a year, though. It should be good. So we'll go ahead and get that part of the process started, and I will be back to show you the final look at the project. Okay, guys, we're ready to put the finish on this handle. To preserve and protect the wood, keep it lasting for years and years probably. We're going to use the boiled linseed oil. You got to be careful with this stuff, because with the rags, as they dry, the chemicals they add to the linseed oil to allow it to dry faster also can cause it heats up as it oxidizes and dries. It can cause it to spontaneous combust as far as the rags go when they're drying. So you want to, what I do, I just take them out and put them in my outside fireplace and burn them, let them burn up. So, you know, that's what they want to do anyway. So we'll go ahead and start adding some of this to it. Okay, looks like we'd have to do it the hard way. A little bit on there. I'll go ahead and wipe this down. Oh yeah, that looks really nice. And again, I want to thank Wrangler Star for the videos of his that I watched. The guy obviously knows what he's doing when it comes to the hatchets and outdoor tools and a lot of other things. You should check out his website. He's got some very, very good informative videos on axe handles and axes and different types of axes and hatchets and wood processing equipment. So check it out. One of the areas we want to also get is right up here on top, so that linseed oil can soak in. And we'll get a little bit more here and dab it up on top. Get a little bit more. Yeah, that looks looking pretty good. Make sure we get plenty on here. I'll get a little bit more on my rag here. All right. Nice coat on here. I want to get it on that end grain too. Let it soak into that end grain. It really soaks it up there. But we will do one coat a day for 7 days, one coat a week for 1 month, and then one coat a month for a year on this handle. And I will be using it. I'm going to add this to my pack, my everyday pack that I carry in my vehicle with me. So we will go ahead and add that to it after I get a few coats on this. Coming up, some of the other videos I'm going to be doing here are I will be doing a video on the SE4, a little review on the SE4, the Baco Laplander saw. Also is another one that I'm going to do. So stay tuned and come back and check out those videos. Thanks a lot, guys. Okay, YouTubers, so we got the boiled linseed oil applied, first coat, and we will probably sometime in the future get a little test done. This is an old hatchet again. I bought this in probably 1969, 1970. Norlund, I believe they were made in Lewistown, Pennsylvania. They started making them right around 1968, and I believe they continued to make them into the early 80s. I may be wrong about that. I'm having a lot of trouble finding very much information on these, but they are kind of I guess a cult classic. They didn't make a lot of them, but there's a lot of people out there that used them when they were young, and you know, the scouts and all that. So I will, after I get this sharpened up, that'll be my next step on this, is to get a nice edge put on this, and then we'll do a little testing. Some of the other things coming up that I want to do a test on is my SE4. Love this knife. I use it often. This is the uncoated version of the SE4, so you have to make sure you keep it's 1095 high carbon steel, so you gotta keep a nice little bit of oil on that to keep it from rusting. This is my own sheath that I made for it. It comes in comes with a plastic sheath. Didn't really like the sheath. We'll also be doing a quick little test on the Baco Laplander saw. It's a good little saw. Cuts through wood like butter. So we'll do a little test on that, and also the Moore knife. One of my buddies, check out his videos. He's got some videos on Glock handguns. Angry Dick is his YouTube name. Check him out. He turned me on to the Moore knife. This is the Moore Companion. It's also a high carbon steel blade. So we'll probably do a little test on that also. So stay tuned, and we will be back with some testing. Thanks a lot.